The 15-minute city is a compelling idea, one that has captured the imagination of urban planners and residents alike. Imagine living in a city where everything you need, from grocery stores to schools, parks, and healthcare facilities, is a short walk or bike ride away. This is the promise of the 15-minute city concept, a vision that seeks to transform urban living. Proponents envision vibrant, walkable neighborhoods with easy access to essential services, green spaces, and community hubs. These areas would be designed to foster a sense of community and well-being. This urban planning model aims to reduce car dependence, promote sustainability, and enhance quality of life. By prioritizing pedestrians and cyclists, cities can become more environmentally friendly and less congested. It's a vision that resonates with many seeking a more livable and connected urban experience. The idea is to create spaces where people can thrive, both socially and economically. However, even the most utopian visions can have their downsides. Implementing such a model requires significant changes to existing infrastructure and urban layouts. As with any large-scale urban planning concept, the 15-minute city is not without its critics and potential pitfalls. Concerns range from the feasibility of such transformations to the potential for increased property prices and gentrification. Beneath the surface of this appealing idea lie complex challenges and concerns that demand careful consideration. Balancing the ideal with the practical is key to making the 15-minute city a reality. The 15-minute city concept has become entangled in a web of misinformation and conspiracy theories. Fueled by social media, these misleading narratives often portray the concept as a sinister plot to restrict freedom of movement and confine people to tightly controlled zones. Some even claim that these cities will involve surveillance technologies to monitor and control residents' every move. These unfounded fears, while baseless, highlight the importance of clear communication and transparency from urban planners. Addressing misinformation and engaging in open dialogue with the public are crucial to building trust and ensuring the responsible implementation of the 15-minute city concept. One of the most significant criticisms leveled against the 15-minute city is the potential for increased gentrification and social segregation. Critics argue that as these neighborhoods become more desirable, property values could rise, displacing lower-income residents and creating economically homogeneous enclaves. This could exacerbate existing inequalities and lead to a city fragmented along socio-economic lines. Addressing this concern requires a commitment to affordable housing within 15-minute zones and policies that prevent displacement. Ensuring that the benefits of this urban model are accessible to all, regardless of income, is paramount to creating truly inclusive and equitable cities. While the 15-minute city aims to boost local economies, it also brings about a significant shift in how we think about urban development and community living. The concept encourages residents to fulfill most of their daily needs within a short walk or bike ride from their homes, fostering a sense of community and reducing the need for long commutes. However, there are concerns about its potential impact on businesses outside these designated zones. The focus on hyper-local living could inadvertently marginalize larger commercial areas that rely on a broader customer base. Larger shopping centers and businesses located in more car-dependent areas could experience reduced customer traffic, leading to a decline in sales and profitability. This is particularly troubling for businesses that have long been staples in their communities but are now seeing fewer visitors. As residents prioritize local options, the shift in consumer behavior could lead to job losses and economic hardship for those reliant on businesses outside the 15-minute radius. This is not just a matter of convenience, but a significant economic shift that could reshape the urban landscape. This shift in consumer behavior could lead to job losses and economic hardship for those reliant on businesses outside the 15-minute radius. The ripple effects could be far-reaching, affecting not just retail workers, but also suppliers, logistics companies, and other ancillary services. Balancing the growth of local economies within 15-minute zones with the needs of businesses across the entire city is crucial for economic sustainability. Urban planners and policymakers must work together to create strategies that support both local and broader economic interests. Urban planners need to consider the potential ripple effects on employment, ensuring that the benefits of the 15-minute city are not confined to specific areas, but are felt across the entire urban landscape. They must ensure that economic opportunities are distributed equitably across all areas, fostering a balanced and inclusive urban economy that benefits everyone regardless of where they live or work. Section 5. The isolation paradox. Paradoxically, while aiming to foster a sense of community, the 15-minute city concept has raised concerns about social isolation. Critics argue that by concentrating amenities within smaller geographic areas, residents may have less reason to venture beyond their immediate neighborhoods. This could lead to reduced interaction with people from diverse backgrounds and social groups, potentially weakening the city's overall social fabric. To counter this potential drawback, urban planners need to create incentives for residents to connect beyond their 15-minute zones. This could involve promoting citywide events, fostering cultural exchange programs, and ensuring convenient and affordable transportation options that connect different neighborhoods. Section 6. The environmental trade-off. While the 15-minute city is often touted as a solution for reducing carbon emissions and promoting sustainability, some experts argue that poorly planned implementations could have the opposite effect. They suggest that concentrating development within specific zones could lead to urban sprawl and increased car dependence in areas lacking essential amenities. Achieving the environmental goals of the 15-minute city requires careful planning and strategic investment in public transportation, green infrastructure, and sustainable building practices. A holistic approach that considers the needs of the entire city, not just designated zones, is essential for minimizing environmental impact. Section 7. A wrench in the cultural gears. The shift towards a 15-minute city model represents a significant cultural change, particularly in car-centric societies. Many residents are accustomed to the freedom and convenience of driving and may resist giving up their cars for shorter commutes and local amenities. This cultural inertia could pose a significant obstacle to the successful implementation of the 15-minute city concept. Overcoming cultural resistance requires effective public education campaigns that highlight the benefits of walkable neighborhoods and reduced car dependence. Providing incentives for alternative modes of transportation, such as cycling infrastructure and affordable public transit, will also be crucial in facilitating this cultural shift. Section 8. Shadows in the short walk. Concerns about safety and security have also been raised in the context of the 15-minute city. Critics argue that increased density and the mixing of residential and commercial areas could lead to higher crime rates if not adequately addressed. Ensuring the safety and security of residents within these densely populated zones is paramount. Addressing these concerns requires a multifaceted approach that includes adequate street lighting, visible security measures, and community policing initiatives. Creating safe and welcoming public spaces is essential for fostering a sense of security and encouraging residents to embrace the walkability of 15-minute cities. Section 9. Striking a balance. The 15-minute city concept, while well-intentioned, is not a silver bullet solution to the challenges facing urban areas. It aims to create self-sufficient neighborhoods where residents can access most of their daily needs within a short walk or bike ride. However, this vision comes with its own set of complexities and potential pitfalls. It presents a complex mix of potential benefits and risks that require careful consideration and nuanced approaches. On one hand, it promises reduced traffic congestion, lower carbon emissions, and enhanced quality of life. On the other hand, it can inadvertently lead to issues like gentrification, where rising property values push out long-time residents. Addressing the concerns of gentrification, economic disruption, social isolation, and security is crucial for the responsible implementation of this urban planning model. These issues can create significant barriers to achieving the inclusive and equitable communities that the 15-minute city aspires to build. Ultimately, the success of the 15-minute city hinges on striking a balance between creating vibrant, walkable neighborhoods and addressing the needs of the entire city. This balance requires thoughtful planning and a willingness to adapt strategies as challenges arise. Open dialogue, community engagement, and a commitment to equitable and inclusive urban development are essential for harnessing the potential of this concept while mitigating its inherent risks. By involving residents in the planning process and ensuring that all voices are heard, cities can work towards creating spaces that are not only functional, but also fair and welcoming for everyone. Imagine a world without secrets. Every step you take, every word you whisper, every glance you make is recorded and analyzed. This is the promise, or rather the threat, of ubiquitous surveillance technologies. Governments and corporations are rapidly deploying these tools, often with little transparency or public debate. We are sleepwalking into a future where our every move is tracked, our lives transformed into open books for unseen eyes. From facial recognition cameras on street corners to biometric databases that store our unique biological markers, the infrastructure of surveillance is being erected all around us. These technologies, sold on the promise of increased security and convenience, come at a steep cost: our privacy. And privacy, as history has repeatedly shown, is not simply a luxury for the privileged few. It is the bedrock upon which all other freedoms are built. The right to a private life, free from undue intrusion, is enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It is a fundamental principle that underpins a free and open society. Yet this right is under assault as never before. We are told that we have nothing to fear if we have nothing to hide. But this simplistic argument ignores a fundamental truth. Privacy is not about hiding. It's about autonomy, dignity, and the right to control our own lives. In the rush to embrace the latest technological marvels, we must pause and ask ourselves, what kind of world are we creating? Are we willing to sacrifice our fundamental liberties for the illusion of safety and convenience? The time to answer these questions is now, before the walls of the digital panopticon close in around us. Biometrics, the science of identifying individuals based on their unique biological characteristics, is rapidly becoming a cornerstone of the surveillance state. From fingerprint scanners to facial recognition software, these technologies are being deployed in a growing number of contexts, from unlocking our smartphones to boarding airplanes. While proponents tout their efficiency and security benefits, the widespread adoption of biometrics has alarming implications for privacy. Unlike passwords or PINs, which can be changed if compromised, our biometric data is immutable. Once it's in a database, it's there for good. A single breach could have devastating consequences, exposing our most sensitive information to criminals and hackers. The potential for misuse is vast, particularly when biometrics are linked to other data sets. Imagine a world where your face is your ID. You walk into a store and cameras instantly identify you, pulling up your purchase history, credit score, and even your social media profile. This is not science fiction. It is the reality we are rapidly approaching. The line between convenience and control blurs, and the potential for discrimination and exclusion becomes all too real. In China, facial recognition technology is already being used to track and control the movements of Uyghur Muslims, a minority group facing persecution. This chilling example should serve as a stark warning to the rest of the world. We must resist the normalization of biometric surveillance before it's too late. We live in a world increasingly mediated by data. Every click, every swipe, every online interaction generates a trail of information that can be collected, analyzed, and used to build a detailed profile of our lives. From our political views to our shopping habits, our digital footprints reveal more about us than we may realize. And as the volume of data collected grows exponentially, so too does the potential for misuse. The rise of social media platforms has created a new frontier for data extraction. We willingly surrender vast amounts of personal information in exchange for the ability to connect with friends and family, often without fully understanding the implications. These platforms, designed to be addictive, exploit our desire for social validation and connection, transforming us into unwitting participants in a grand experiment of data harvesting. But it's not just social media companies that are collecting our data. Governments around the world are increasingly turning to mass surveillance programs, justifying their actions in the name of national security. From the NSA's PRISM program to China's Sharp Eyes initiative, these programs operate in the shadows. collecting vast troves of data on citizens and foreigners alike, often without any judicial oversight or accountability. The illusion of control is perhaps the most insidious aspect of the modern surveillance state. We are told that we can opt out, that we have a choice, but in reality, the choice is often illusory. The infrastructure of surveillance is so pervasive, the incentives to participate so strong, that true resistance feels futile. As we cede more and more control over our lives to algorithms, we must confront the uncomfortable truth that these systems are far from neutral. Algorithms are created by humans, and they inherit our biases, prejudices, and limitations. When we allow algorithms to make decisions about who gets a loan, who gets hired, or who gets flagged as a security threat, we are effectively outsourcing our ethical responsibilities to machines that are incapable of moral reasoning. The dangers of algorithmic bias are well documented. Facial recognition systems, for example, have been shown to be less accurate at identifying people of color, leading to wrongful arrests and other injustices. Predictive policing algorithms, used by law enforcement agencies to identify high crime areas, have been criticized for perpetuating racial profiling and reinforcing existing inequalities. The problem is not simply that algorithms are imperfect, it's that they are often treated as objective and infallible. We imbue these systems with an aura of authority, forgetting that they are merely tools, capable of amplifying our worst impulses if left unchecked. The pursuit of efficiency and objectivity, often cited as justifications for algorithmic decision-making, can blind us to the very real human costs of these systems. We must resist the urge to defer to algorithms as impartial arbiters of truth. Instead, we must demand transparency, accountability, and oversight. We must ensure that algorithms are designed and deployed in a way that upholds our values and protects our rights. Section 5. The price of convenience, trading liberty for a seamless experience. In the relentless pursuit of convenience and efficiency, we are, sleepwalking into a world of pervasive surveillance. We eagerly embrace the latest gadgets and services that promise to simplify our lives, often without fully considering, the long-term implications for our privacy and freedom. The allure of a frictionless existence, where our every need is anticipated and met with minimal effort, can sometimes blind us to the Faustian bargain we are making. Think about it. Consider the seemingly innocuous act of using a contactless payment system. Each transaction generates a data point that can, be used to track our movements, our spending habits, and even our social connections. Aggregated over time, this data paints a remarkably detailed picture of our lives, one that can be used to influence our behavior, manipulate our choices, and ultimately erode our autonomy. The same technologies that can personalize our shopping experiences can also be used to nudge us towards certain political candidates, steer us away from controversial information, and shape our perceptions of the world. The line between convenience and control becomes, increasingly blurred, and the very notion of free will is called into question. We must, resist the temptation to outsource our critical thinking to algorithms and corporations. We must cultivate a healthy skepticism towards technologies that promise to do our thinking for us. The future of our freedom depends on our willingness to embrace a degree of inconvenience, to resist the seductive allure of a perfectly curated digital life. Section 6. The slippery slope from data collection to social control. The erosion of privacy rarely happens overnight. It's more of a gradual process, a slow creep of surveillance that often goes unnoticed until, it's too late. What might start as a seemingly harmless data collection program can honestly transform into a powerful tool of social control, especially when it's wielded by authoritarian regimes. For example, take a moment to think about China's social credit system. It's like a dystopian glimpse into the future, where citizens are constantly monitored and rated based on their behavior. Facial recognition cameras, tracking online activities, and even monitoring social media interactions. All of these are used to assign people a social credit score. And that score, it can determine access to loans, jobs, or even the right to travel. Now, while China's system might feel like an extreme case, let's not forget that the underlying technologies are, widely available to governments and corporations across the globe. The temptation to use these tools for control and manipulation will only grow as they become more advanced and commonplace. The slippery slope from data collection to social control is often paved, ironically, with good intentions. We're told these technologies will make us safer, help us catch criminals and improve our lives. But really, history has shown us that power, once acquired, is rarely given up willingly. The tools we create to solve today's problems could very easily become the instruments of oppression tomorrow. Section 7. Resistance is not futile, reclaiming our digital rights. In the face of overreaching surveillance, it's easy to feel powerless. The technology is so complex, the corporations are incredibly powerful, and the forces working against us can seem overwhelming, but giving up, that's not an option. The fight for privacy is, at its heart, a fight for our fundamental freedoms, and honestly, it's a fight we cannot afford to lose. Sure, the challenges we face are real, but they're not impossible to overcome. The first step in reclaiming our digital rights is awareness. We need to educate ourselves and others about the sneaky ways surveillance technologies are chipping away at our liberties. We need to challenge those misleading narratives that say privacy is just secrecy and that security requires control. We must demand greater transparency and accountability, not just from governments, but from corporations too. And of course, we need strong privacy laws that protect our data from being collected or used without proper cause. But this fight isn't just about laws and policies, it's also about our everyday choices. Every time we pick a privacy-respecting service, every time we question why our data is being collected, and every time we speak out against surveillance overreach, we're taking a stand. This isn't just a fight for today, it's a fight for a freer, more just future. Section 8. Building a future of trust, ethical considerations for emerging technologies. As we enter a new era of technology, we have, a unique opportunity to take a different path, one that puts human dignity, autonomy, and freedom at the forefront. Instead of rushing to embrace every shiny new innovation, we need to approach technology with a healthy dose of skepticism and a strong commitment to ethics. We have to go beyond the simple trade-off of convenience versus privacy. It's time to have a deeper conversation about the values we want to uphold in this digitally connected world. Let's ask ourselves not just what these technologies do, but what they do. And we need to think long-term, not just about the impact on us today, but on future generations as well. The development of emerging technologies should be guided by clear principles, things like transparency, accountability, fairness, and respect for human rights. These technologies should empower people, not control or manipulate them. Building a future of trust means redefining our relationship with technology. We need to move past this idea that technology alone can solve all our problems and instead adopt a more holistic perspective. At the end of the day, technology is just a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or for harm. The choice really is ours. Section 9, the human element, why we must fight for our right to privacy. In a world of increasing automation and digital surveillance, it's easy to, forget about the human element. We get so caught up in data points, algorithms and metrics that we lose sight of the fact that behind every piece of data is a real living person. The fight for privacy is, at its core, a fight for our shared humanity. Privacy isn't just about hiding things. It's about protecting the space we need to think, to dream, to explore, and to be ourselves without fear of judgment or punishment. It's about preserving the sanctity of our inner lives, that deeply personal realm of thoughts and emotions that makes us human. When every move we make is tracked, when every word we speak is recorded, when even our thoughts feel scrutinized, we lose something fundamental. We become less free, less spontaneous, and less willing to take risks or challenge the status quo. We risk becoming shadows of ourselves, living in a constant state of self-censorship and conformity. This fight for privacy isn't about being against progress or security. It's about standing up for the right to live authentically, to make our own choices and to shape our own futures. It's a fight worth having, and it's a fight we must win to create a future that honors our shared humanity. Technology has revolutionized our world, shrunk it to the size of our smartphones, and connected us in ways unimaginable just a few decades ago. But let's be real. Every coin has two sides. Today we're diving deep into the flip side of tech, exploring the shadows cast by some of humanity's most groundbreaking advancements. From the subatomic realm explored at CERN to the artificial minds being born in our labs, we'll uncover the hidden disadvantages lurking beneath the surface of innovation. Don't get me wrong, I'm a scientist, and I'm all about pushing the boundaries of knowledge, but not without a healthy dose of cautious curiosity. So buckle up as we journey through the fascinating and sometimes unsettling dark side of tech. Get ready to ponder the big questions about the future we're building, one technological leap at a time. Deep beneath the French-Swiss border lies CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, home to the Large Hadron Collider. It's a marvel of engineering, smashing particles together at nearly the speed of light, unlocking the secrets of the universe. But some folks, and I'm not saying they're wrong, worry about what we might unleash. We're talking about energies and conditions not seen since the Big Bang. Could we create microscopic black holes right here on Earth? It's a question that sends shivers down your spine. Now, the folks at CERN, they've got answers. They've run the numbers and they say the risk is negligible. But remember, negligible doesn't mean impossible. And the stakes? Well, they're about as high as you can get, the fate of our planet. Then there's the ethical dilemma. How far is too far in our quest to unlock the universe's secrets? Are we playing with forces we don't fully comprehend? These are questions we need to grapple with. The pursuit of knowledge is essential, but not without understanding the potential consequences. We need open dialogues, transparency, and a commitment to safety. The universe is a vast and mysterious place, and we're just starting to scratch the surface. Let's explore it responsibly. We're now living in the age of automation, algorithms, and artificial intelligence. Machines are becoming increasingly sophisticated, capable of performing tasks once thought to be the exclusive domain of humans. On the one hand, it's incredible. Think about the potential to free us from mundane tasks, to cure diseases, to solve complex problems. But here's the flip side. What happens when we become overly reliant on these machines? What happens to our skills, our ingenuity, our ability to problem solve when we're constantly interfacing with algorithms that do our thinking for us? It's a slippery slope. And then there's the economic impact. As automation takes over, millions of jobs are at risk. Truck drivers, factory workers, even lawyers and doctors, no one is immune. We need to start thinking now about how we're going to adapt to this changing landscape. How do we retrain our workforce? How do we ensure that the benefits of automation are shared equitably? These aren't easy questions, but they're questions we can't afford to ignore. We need to find a way to integrate these technologies into our lives in a way that enhances, not diminishes, our humanity. We need to remember that technology should serve us, not the other way around. The future is a collaboration between man and machine, and it's up to us to write the rules. Nanotechnology is the Wild West of materials science. We're talking about manipulating matter at the atomic level, building materials and devices atom by atom. The potential benefits are mind-blowing. From super-efficient solar panels to targeted drug delivery systems, the possibilities seem endless. But hold on a minute, because with great power comes great responsibility, right? One of the biggest concerns with nanotechnology is the potential impact on human health and the environment. These tiny particles, they can interact with our bodies and ecosystems in ways we don't fully understand. Some studies suggest that certain nanoparticles could be toxic, accumulating in our organs or disrupting delicate ecological balances. And here's the kicker. We don't have any long-term studies on the effects of nanoparticles. We're essentially flying blind, releasing these tiny particles into the world without fully understanding the consequences. We need to tread carefully, folks. We need more research, stricter regulations, and a precautionary approach to ensure that this revolutionary technology doesn't turn into an environmental disaster. We've got one planet. Let's treat it with respect, even at the nanoscale. Neural networks, the brainchild of AI, are designed to mimic the human brain. They can analyze massive data sets, recognize patterns, and make predictions with astonishing accuracy. We're talking about machines that can teach themselves, learn from their mistakes, and even surpass human capabilities in certain areas. But here's where things get a little creepy. Neural networks are only as good as the data they're trained on. And if that data is biased, well, guess what? The AI becomes biased too. We're already seeing examples of this, from facial recognition systems that discriminate against people of color to algorithms that perpetuate gender stereotypes. And then there's the question of control. As these networks become more complex, even their creators don't fully understand how they're making decisions. That's a little unnerving, wouldn't you say? What happens if an AI designed to, say, manage a power grid suddenly decides to do something unexpected? We're talking about systems that could potentially impact millions of lives. We need to proceed with caution, ensuring that these powerful tools are developed ethically and responsibly. The future of AI is in our hands. Let's make sure it's a future we can all be proud of. Hold on to your hats, folks, because quantum computing is here to break the mold. Forget the ones and zeros of your classical computer. We're entering the realm of qubits, where particles can be in multiple states at the same time. It's like something straight out of Star Trek, and it has the potential to revolutionize fields from medicine to materials science. But here's the catch: quantum computers are incredibly powerful, and with great power, well, you know the rest. One of the biggest concerns is the potential for code breaking. Imagine a computer that can crack the encryption protecting our online transactions, our personal information, our national secrets. It's a sobering thought. And then there's the potential for misuse in cyber warfare. Quantum computers could be used to develop incredibly sophisticated hacking tools, capable of crippling critical infrastructure or disrupting entire economies. We're talking about a whole new level of cyber threats. The development of quantum technology is advancing rapidly, and we need to be prepared for the implications. This means investing in quantum-resistant encryption, developing international regulations, and fostering a global dialogue on the ethical use of this game-changing technology. The quantum age is coming, whether we're ready for it or not. Let's make sure we're prepared. So there you have it, a glimpse into the dark side of some of today's most exciting technologies. It's a lot to process, I know. But remember, the future isn't predetermined. It's up to us to shape it. While these technologies hold immense promise, it's crucial to address their disadvantages to ensure a balanced and ethical future. We need to ask the tough questions, consider the potential consequences, and work together to create a future where technology benefits all of humanity. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments below. Artificial intelligence, or AI, is basically computers doing stuff that used to require humans. Think self-driving cars, not just your phone auto-correcting, ducking to something else again. And AI is everywhere now, which is kind of cool and kind of terrifying. Like, imagine a Roomba, but it's also writing poetry and judging you silently. The problem is we're rushing headfirst into this AI future without really thinking about the consequences. What happens when machines can do our jobs better, faster, and cheaper? What happens when they start making decisions about our lives? Buckle up, folks, because it's about to get dystopian up in here. Let's talk about bias. Humans are biased, it's a thing. But when we feed our biased data into AI systems, guess what? Robot bias. Imagine an AI system used for loan approvals. Seems objective, right? But if the data it's trained on shows that historically certain groups were less likely to get loans because of, systemic racism, the AI might just perpetuate those inequalities. And it's not just loans. We're talking about AI being used in everything from healthcare to criminal justice. Do we really want algorithms making life-altering decisions based on biased data? Spoiler alert. Nope. Buy a robot. Remember that whole robots taking our jobs thing? Yeah, that's not science fiction, folks. Automation is already replacing workers in industries like manufacturing and customer service, and sure, some new jobs will be created, but will they be enough? Will they require skills that most displaced workers don't have? Doubtful. Remember that whole robots taking our jobs thing? Yeah, that's not science fiction, folks. Automation is already replacing workers in industries like manufacturing and customer service. And sure, some new jobs will be created, but will they be enough? Will they require skills that most displaced workers don't have? Doubtful. Imagine being a truck driver, one of the most common jobs in America. Now imagine self-driving trucks hitting the road. Suddenly, millions of jobs vanish. Poof! And it's not just blue-collar jobs either. AI can write reports, analyze data, even perform surgery. No one is safe. Ever get that creepy feeling that your phone is listening to you? Well, with AI, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Facial recognition software, social media algorithms, and data tracking are all powered by AI. It's collecting information about our every move, our every purchase, our every dumb thought we post online. And who has access to all this data? Governments, corporations. Ever get that creepy feeling that your phone is listening to you? Well, with AI, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Facial recognition software, social media algorithms, and data tracking are all powered by AI. It's collecting information about our every move, our every purchase, our every dumb thought we post online. And who has access to all this data? Governments, corporations, hackers, who knows? But one thing's for sure, it's a massive invasion of privacy, and it's only going to get worse as AI gets more sophisticated. Smile, you're on camera. So, what's the solution? A Terminator-style robot uprising? Hopefully not, but we need to start thinking critically about AI and its implications. We need regulations, ethical guidelines, and maybe even a little bit of fear to keep us from creating a future where we're ruled by biased, job-stealing, privacy-violating algorithms. Otherwise, the future is looking pretty bleak. And not the cool Blade Runner kind of bleak, the boring dystopian kind. Imagine a world with self-driving cars, personalized medicine, and robots doing all the boring jobs. Sounds pretty sweet, right? Well, hold your horses, because here comes the reality check. This revolution, like all revolutions, has a dark side. Think about it. All those fancy robots and algorithms. They're here to automate your job, your neighbor's job, basically job. Truck drivers, factory workers, even lawyers. Nobody is safe. And while some folks are excited about robots taking over, let's be honest, most of us need those paychecks. So buckle up, because we're diving headfirst into the dark side of Industry 4.0, where the future is automated, and the only thing scarier than a robot uprising is the realization that it might put you out of a job. Let's talk about job displacement, shall we? It's a fancy way of saying robots are coming for your paycheck. And trust me, it's not as exciting as a robot boxing match. Remember the Industrial Revolution? Yeah, this is like that, but on steroids. We're talking millions, potentially, of jobs lost to automation. Truck drivers replaced by self-driving trucks. Factory workers replaced by robot arms that never take a coffee break. Even lawyers replaced by algorithms that can analyze legal documents faster than you can say objection. Now, some might argue. But John, new jobs will be created, and sure, that's true. But here's the kicker. Those new jobs will likely require specialized skills and education that most displaced workers don't have. So what happens to them? That's right. They're left behind, struggling to adapt in a world that's rapidly leaving them in the dust. This isn't just about losing a job. It's about losing a sense of purpose, a sense of identity. It's about the fear of becoming irrelevant in a world that's constantly evolving. Okay, so robots are taking our jobs, but hey, at least the robots will distribute the wealth evenly, right? Wrong. Remember the golden rule. Those with the gold make the rules. And in the age of automation, the gold is in the hands of the tech giants, the ones who control the robots, the algorithms, the whole damn show. Think about it. Who benefits most from automation? The companies that can replace human workers with cheaper, more efficient machines. And what do they do with all those extra profits? They certainly don't share it with the workers they just replaced. No, they hoard it, invest it, and watch their wealth grow exponentially, while the rest of us struggle to keep up. This isn't just about job displacement anymore. It's about widening the gap between the haves and the have-nots. It's about creating a future where a tiny elite controls the means of production, while the rest of us are left fighting over the scraps. Remember privacy, that quaint notion that you have some control over your own personal information? Well, say goodbye to that, because in the age of Industry 4.0, Big Brother isn't just watching you. He's wearing a Fitbit, tracking your every move, your every heartbeat. Think about it. Smart homes, smart cities, smart everything. It's all connected, all generating data. And guess what? That data is valuable, and companies and governments are more than happy to collect it, analyze it, and use it for their own purposes. Want to buy groceries? Your shopping habits are tracked. Want to watch TV? Your viewing preferences are recorded. Want to walk down the street without being identified? Good luck with that. Facial recognition technology is everywhere and it doesn't care about your privacy. Welcome to the future where your data is the new currency and you're constantly being monitored, analyzed and categorized. Sleep tight. Quantum computing holds immense promise. It has the potential to revolutionize fields like medicine, materials science, and artificial intelligence. Imagine discovering new drugs, designing innovative materials, or creating truly intelligent machines. These are just a few of the possibilities that quantum computers could unlock. However, this revolutionary technology also presents significant challenges. These challenges are not merely engineering hurdles to overcome, they are fundamental problems rooted in the very nature of quantum mechanics. Understanding these challenges is crucial for assessing the viability and timeline of practical quantum computing. One of the most significant challenges is the fragility of qubits, the building blocks of quantum information. Unlike classical bits, which are stable and easy to control, qubits are extremely susceptible to noise and errors. This fragility makes it incredibly difficult to build and operate quantum computers reliably. Furthermore, scaling up quantum computers from a handful of qubits to the thousands or millions needed for practical applications is a daunting task. The complexity of controlling and entangling a large number of qubits while maintaining their delicate quantum states presents a monumental engineering and theoretical challenge. At the heart of quantum computing's power and fragility lies the concept of superposition. Unlike classical bits, which can be either 0 or 1, a qubit can be in a superposition of both states simultaneously. This unique property allows quantum computers to explore vast computational spaces, enabling them to tackle problems beyond the reach of even the most powerful classical computers. However, this power comes at a cost: decoherence. Qubits are extremely sensitive to their environment. Even the slightest interaction with their surroundings, such as vibrations, temperature fluctuations, or electromagnetic radiation, can disrupt their delicate quantum states. This disruption, known as decoherence, leads to errors in quantum computations. To combat decoherence, researchers employ sophisticated error correction techniques. These techniques introduce redundancy into the quantum computation, allowing errors to be detected and corrected. However, error correction itself is a resource-intensive process, requiring additional qubits and complex quantum operations. The challenge lies in finding a balance between increasing the number of qubits for computational power and managing the escalating error rates. As quantum computers grow in size, maintaining the stability and fidelity of qubits becomes increasingly difficult. Building a few qubits is one thing. Building a quantum computer capable of solving real-world problems is an entirely different challenge. Scaling up quantum computers involves not only increasing the number of qubits, but also maintaining their connectivity and control. Imagine trying to orchestrate a symphony orchestra where each musician represents a qubit. Now imagine that the musicians are incredibly sensitive to even the slightest sound or movement, and the music they produce depends on their delicate quantum state. This analogy highlights the complexity of controlling and entangling a large number of qubits. As the number of qubits grows, the physical architecture of the quantum computer becomes increasingly complex. Connecting qubits, routing control signals, and minimizing interference between them are significant engineering hurdles. Furthermore, maintaining the uniformity and stability of qubits across a large-scale system is crucial for reliable computations. The quest for scalable quantum computing has led to the development of various qubit technologies, each with its strengths and weaknesses. Superconducting qubits, trapped ions, and photonic qubits are just a few examples. However, no single technology has emerged as a clear winner, and each faces its own limitations in terms of coherence, speed, and scalability. Quantum computing is still in its early stages of development. The challenges discussed above are significant, but they are not insurmountable. Researchers around the world are making remarkable progress in overcoming these obstacles. New error correction techniques are constantly being developed, improving the stability and reliability of quantum computations. Advances in qubit design and fabrication are pushing the boundaries of coherence times and gate fidelities. Software and algorithm development is rapidly progressing, paving the way for practical quantum applications. The journey towards practical quantum computing is a marathon, not a sprint. It requires sustained investment, collaboration, and a deep understanding of both the promises and the perils of this revolutionary technology. While the future of quantum computing is uncertain, one thing is clear. It has the potential to reshape our world in profound ways. By acknowledging and addressing the challenges, we can pave the way for a future where quantum computers unlock solutions to some of humanity's most pressing problems. The Mark of the Beast is a compelling prophecy. It has captivated and troubled readers of the Bible for centuries. This mark, shrouded in mystery and symbolism, represents allegiance to a powerful entity. This entity opposes God. It is known as the Beast. The mark signifies a decisive shift in loyalty. Accepting the mark aligns an individual with the beast's dominion. It signifies a rejection of God's sovereignty. This choice has profound spiritual implications. It determines where one's allegiance truly lies. This mark is not merely a physical symbol, it represents a spiritual and moral alignment. It signifies a conscious decision to embrace a system of power. This system is opposed to God's plan for humanity. The concept of the mark raises important questions about faith, obedience, and the nature of power. It challenges us to examine our own allegiances. It compels us to consider the potential consequences of our choices. The primary source for understanding the mark of the beast is the Book of Revelation. This final book of the New Testament presents a vivid and symbolic account of future events. The mark of the beast is described in Revelation 13:16-18. The passage describes a time when the beast will rise to power. This beast will demand worship and obedience from all people. Those who refuse to comply will face severe consequences. The mark is a way to identify those who have pledged their allegiance to the beast. The Bible states that the mark will be placed on the right hand or the forehead. This prominent placement suggests that it will be a visible symbol of allegiance. This mark will be required to buy or sell. This indicates its pervasive influence on daily life. The number 666 is associated with the mark. This number has been interpreted in various ways. Some believe it to be a literal number. Others see it as a symbolic representation of imperfection and evil. The interpretation of the mark of the beast has been a subject of much debate and speculation among theologians and biblical scholars. Throughout history, various interpretations have emerged. These interpretations reflect different understandings of biblical prophecy and its relevance to contemporary events. Some interpretations view the mark literally. They believe it will be a physical mark. Others understand it more symbolically. They see it as a representation of spiritual allegiance or conformity to a particular ideology. Some theologians have connected the mark to historical figures. These figures include Roman emperors and other rulers who persecuted Christians. Others believe that the mark will be associated with a future world leader. This leader will emerge in the end times. The diversity of interpretations highlights the complexity of biblical prophecy. It also emphasizes the importance of careful study and discernment when approaching such topics. Despite its ancient origins, the concept of the mark of the beast continues to resonate in modern society. It fuels anxieties, it sparks debates, it inspires countless interpretations in literature, film, and popular culture. The idea of a mark that signifies allegiance to a powerful entity taps into deep-seated fears about control and conformity. In a world grappling with issues of surveillance, data privacy, and technological advancements, the mark of the beast serves as a potent symbol of the potential dangers of unchecked power. The mark's relevance extends beyond literal interpretations. It raises important questions about the choices we make, the values we uphold, and the potential consequences of surrendering our freedom and autonomy. While interpretations of the mark of the beast may vary, its enduring presence in our collective consciousness underscores the power of biblical prophecy to engage with contemporary concerns. It serves as a reminder of the importance of spiritual discernment, ethical decision-making, and resisting forces that seek to undermine our freedom and relationship with God.